Apply it evenly through the hair. It's going to balance out the moisture content. I'm going to follow up with the thickening cream because we need a cutting agent. It's going to help us create neater sections throughout the haircut and also give a bit of energy to the hair throughout the drying process. Pick up the thickening cream. It's a couple of pumps to the palm. Work the product in from roots to ends. It's going to allow us to control those small, unruly hair around the hairline and create much neater sections. And we are going to apply one more product of Root Boost, which is a spray-on mousse. It's going to give us some hold separation. It's going to support the shape as the hair dries off. Apply it, of course, mainly to the root area, and we're going to work it in with the comb to the entire hair shaft. And now the hair is ready to be cut. In the first step of the haircut, I'm going to initiate our first part just from the top of the recession area back all the way through to the hairline, sort of in a C curvature manner. Because as I said earlier, we're working with a double cut. I'm going to isolate the top area, also the back from the sides. Okay, and repeat the same parting on the opposite side. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clip this hair away on the top and the back area. But because there's so much hair involved in this area, I'm going to subsection it just by the crown. So all the hair you're not cutting, not dealing with, is neatly clipped away. Just gonna show you this section again. Okay, just bringing two C curvature sections along the parietal ridge, continuing into the hairline by the nape area. A first section is going to be taken right along the C curvature part. I'm going to connect the length existing in the perimeter on the back, which you can see I'm holding right now, coming from just around the occipital area, connected into the existing fringe, is coming from this area right around the recession. So we're going to eliminate quite a bit of weight with high elevation, utilize some deep point cutting. And of course, Now initially we just eliminate the weight, and of course we are going to detail this as the hair dries off by various techniques of customizing. Okay. At this point we're going to continue eliminate the rest of the weight and some of the actual length on the side area by the same technique. Just taking parallel sections to our first initial section here and over drag the hair to a stationary guide right to the parietal ridge. You can see I'm utilizing quite chunky deep point cutting for the random and spontaneous feel of the texture. And continue it, connecting it back into the existing length. So here we have our very last section coming from the hairline, directing it up into our stationary guide and eliminate some of the length and of course the weight at the same time. Continue with the same technique, deep point cutting, and also in the back portion to blend all the layers together. I'll quickly check what happened, see if we're satisfied with the feel of the layers. It's exactly what we were looking for. You can see we eliminated all this weight. We maintain still some of the length on the sides, and we maintain the existing length. You can repeat the same process on the opposite side. Working our layers from the front to the back and connecting it into the existing length at the nape area. Once again, taking parallel sections to our initial guide and follow up with high elevation up to the parietal ridge. And continue with the deep point cutting for the random texture. Again, our very last section is being pulled all the way up, all the way directed nice and neatly, all the hair from the hairline, and complete our layering on the sides. So checking for the balance. Of course, we're not going to have same exact lengths coming from both sides because of the deep point cutting. What we're really looking for is balance. Make sure the weight line is the same on both sides. Before we layer the hair, we're going to take diagonal back sections and channel cut the hair for separation. It's going to give quite random texture to the finished end result. You can see we're leaving long pieces and we're mixing it up with short pieces as well. The feeling we're looking for is an anti-directional movement, meaning that the hair is going to have a quite random feel and multi-textured finish. Now being careful at the back area, we don't want to over texturize and lose the length, but still continue with the same feel. Again, just visually checking for balance, looking at even separation, amount of hair. Make sure we don't have an unbalanced length or weight. There it is. And now we're ready to take down the top section and continue with the layering. First, we're going to establish our layering guide just right below the crown area in the central profile section. And working from a shorter crown into the existing length. The elevation is crucial at this point, making sure that we're saving the length on the bottom area and really just creating more volume texture at the crown. And from this point, because we want to create disconnection between the sides and the back area, is going to take fine sections over directed back to the center and slice the hair randomly, maintaining length, but create a lot of short pieces to support the texture and that anti-directional movement. Here's our last section. Again, just over directed back to the stationary guide and slightly blend the layers together. Making sure we're keeping these long pieces to allow it to fall over the short underneath section. Continue the same process on the opposite side. Finding our guide again, the central profile section, and adding the remaining hair on the sides into it. You can see we created a nice croppy crown area. It's going to give us a lot of texture and movement, but maintain the hair around the perimeter. You can actually continue with the fringe. Working with the same idea, establishing our layering guide in the central profile section. Take some hair from the crown into the top. It's going to serve us as a guide. And work from the shorter crown into the existing length in the fringe. The length is going to maintain working from a shorter crown into the existing length in the fringe. We're going to maintain the length in the fringe area for versatility. Now just picking up the hair from the sides and continue the same process, utilizing quite random slicing in order to maintain the length which will fall over the shorter side area. Picking up a larger section. Because of the density of the hair, we have the luxury to pick up this much hair together and slice it onto our pre-existing guide. Gonna shake out the cut we created. Now we are going to pick up the blow dryer, dry the hair off, prepare it for customization. So first we're just going to powder dry the hair looking for natural movement of the hair, and then pick up the brush and stretch it out, and looking for the movement we can create, kind of push it from the left side to the right side. So we finished drying. We can see how we have a fairly nice, smooth and loose shape developed out of the haircut. So you can see how the color complements the haircut very, very nicely. There's a strong synergy between the cut and the color. And now what we can do is just check for the balance, and considering different elements as far as the weight on the front area and the looseness on the sides, and trying to balance out the shape. And now I'm going to pick up the scissors and freehand going to start molding the shape and creating the final end result. First, I'm just going to back cut the hair in the crown area. This was our initial focus here, to create a different texture and movement. Very gently back cutting the hair, making sure we're not changing the shape, we're just adding to it. Working with the perimeter, channel cutting the weight out, breaking up the solid line. Because what we want to do is create the same exact feel what we have going on the sides throughout the back. Freehand cutting gives us the freedom and allows us to cut with the natural movement. We're taking advantage of that. And of course, because of the product, gives us a lot of volume and movement. Can create the softness and randomness we're looking for. I'm gonna do some additional detailing in the fringe. Now we have to pick up the comb just because we have a little bit more work to do here. The hair is quite heavy still. So I'm gonna take subsections parallel with the hairline. Again, being inspired by the color, you can see the variations of light, medium, and dark. Definitely don't want to change the length, but take out a small amount of weight so we can create a translucent and transparent feel in the fringe. Taking a parallel section, working towards the crown, making sure we're not picking up the hair we already cut. That would be dangerous.